Well, Joanna's going to be here, and Jamie and I are performing, so we were hoping we could make it perform. We're a team.
Yeah. No, we have opening day that weekend.
Yeah.
Are we ready to start, Mark?
Yep.
Okay, fiddle for me. All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Easter.
Good morning. Easter.
Everybody, please stand. We're going to sing Every Little Cell. This tune of shortcake bread. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. I'm so glad. Every little cell in my body is well. I'm so glad. Every little cell in my body is well. How you feeling? Pretty good? Let's try a little faster. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. I'm so glad. Every little cell in my body is well. I'm so glad. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Thank you very much. Where's welcome guests and thank yous?
Oh,
I thought I had to do it all of a sudden. I wasn't sure.
Welcome. Good morning. Happy Easter morning, everybody. Nice to see everybody here. So we're very glad that Michael Gregory is our musician today, and our guest speaker.
Speakers, we got my wife there.
it's on the paper.
Fran Gregory, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well, we're both gonna
Which paper am I not looking at?
We're going to be tag teaming. So.
Oh, yeah, it's right in front of me, of course. Fran Gregory is the guest speaker. So anyway, thank you. And we just want to, before we get started, give an acknowledgement to all the people who help make Sundays special and make them happen. So our chaplain of the day is Nora Clemens, and our hospitality hosts are Laura and Mary Ellen and Ann. Spick and Span Angels are all of us, so after fellowship time, if you could help sweep away the crumbs, that would be helpful. Also, there comes a point when the chairs need to be stacked and put away, and if you could lend your hand with that, that would be very, very appreciated. And of course, our board is very instrumental in making sure everything happens today that's nourishing and enriching. We want to give a thanks to our technology guru, Mark Swink. Mark puts things on the screen for us and is responsible for the streaming live on the internet, so thank you, Mark. And thank you, Cindy Swink, for all that you do. And I am your platform assistant, Deborah Clay. So anyway, we want to say welcome, and we'll have some more things to say after another song.
Kind loving spirit, you guys have done this with me. My loving spirit is flowing through me now. My loving spirit is flowing through me now. My loving spirit is flowing through me now. bremerton.com. That's my website. That's awesome.
Is there anybody with us for the first time today? We're all returnees? Okay, well, welcome everybody. And we also want to acknowledge the people on the internet. Thank you for watching. Our Red Heart Welcome is all about acknowledging the fact that the Spirit of God lives within each one of us, and we want to share that with the world. So what we always like to say is we welcome you in the spirit of love, and we want you to know that no matter where you are on your journey of faith, you're welcome here. We know that the world is a better place when we're willing to share our hearts. We give you the red heart as a symbol of the steadfast spirit that lives within each one of us, and we ask you to carry this symbol as a reminder of this Red Heart Fellowship. Let it be a reminder that the love of God is always within you, and to share your heart wherever you go. You know, I keep remembering this fellow. Monday through Friday, I take the ferry to Seattle to go to work. There is a man on the Bremerton side who stands there, and as we're walking onto the ferry, he says, "Good morning, good to see you, how you doing?" with a big smile on his face. You know, that's not part of his job. He just opts to do that. And that's the love of God shining through. You know what I mean? I try and give him a smile or a thumbs up when I go by, because he's spreading light wherever he goes. Let's start the movement here. All right, so there's a number of announcements in your bulletin, and I'm not going to go over all of them, but I will remind you that on Thursday nights we have a Course in Miracles study group, and it's at 7 p.m. All are welcome. If you'd like to join us, you're very welcome to attend. Okay, and we have a board member of the week to tell us more. Welcome, Cindy Swink.
Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, we aren't doing this weekly anymore, but we did have a board meeting last week. So I wanted to bring everybody up to date of what the board's up to and what we were talking about. So we are happy to let you know that since our move, we have not had to take money from the savings account since January. That is a good thing, a very good thing. Almost saved it for good news, but you know what the heck. So thank you for your continued support. It's making a difference and it's showing. So thank you all. We decided at the last meeting that we want to hold a town hall meeting. Not an official, this is not our annual congregational meeting, but this is a town hall meeting to get everybody to start chiming in. Let's talk about things. What do we want to do? What are we missing? What do we like to see? What we don't really care for that could go away, whatever. So we've scheduled that for after service on May 19th. We're going to do a potluck and just kind of sit around and let's chat. Let's get some feedback, because I know we're all busy and whatnot, and we're all doing the best we can, but maybe we can come up with some ideas together. So that's an opportunity. So if you can, please join us May 19th. We'll continue to remind you. And potluck, so food's always good. I wanted to take a moment. Our Miss Tracy had her surgery. She is doing well. She is healing. This is the first Easter, she says, in a very, very long time that she is not here, but she is watching. So if everybody would take a moment and turn around and say, "Hi, Tracy! We love you." I also sent in your bulletins is a poem written by Myrtle Fillmore in 1902. And I emailed that out to some of the people like George and Lois, who can't be here, Mary Aitchison, who's in Fresno, and Tracy, to some of the folks that couldn't be here today to at least share with that. Also posted on Facebook, just so that they know that even though they're not here, we're still thinking about them. So, and anybody else that you want to reach out to, if you want to share this poem with somebody, it is on Facebook, or if you'd like me to send it to you by email, I can do that too. And as always, if you have any questions, concerns, or comments, please see a board member. Thank you.
Yay.
Okay, it's time to light the Christ candle. When we light the Christ candle, that is a representation of the Christ light that lives within each one of us. So on the screen, we have our mission statement. Can we say this together? We are a welcoming community supporting our mutual quest for spiritual truth and our invocation together.
There is one presence and one power,
Active in the universe and in my life, God the good omnipotence. Thank you. Okay. We're going to have a brief time of handshakes and hugs. Please remember that after the service, we're going to have some fellowship time, and you can have longer conversations then. So when you hug, hug gently. Sometimes people have invisible sensitivities, okay? But handshakes and hugs, let's greet each other.
Hi, sweetie. How you doing?
Good morning, how are you?
Pretty good. More than working for this
Hi there. Good morning.
Here I am.
Here you are.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you and I love you too. Feel love in the sanctuary. Now lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together, we come together, in the name of love. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you and I love you too. Feel love in the sanctuary. Now lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together, we come together. We come together, in the name of love. We come together, we come together, we come together, in the name of love. Every walk of life, every creed and color, in kinship we unite, and honor God and each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Now lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together, in the name of love. We come together, we come together, we come together, in the name of love, name of love, name of love.
Daily Word, Easter. I am resurrected into the life, light, and power of God. The Gospel of Matthew shares that the women who discovered the empty tomb on Easter morning left the tomb quickly with fear and great joy and ran to tell his disciples. On the way, Jesus appeared to them, stating, "Tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me." Charles Fillmore explains, every time we rise to the realization of the eternal indwelling life, making union with the Father mind, the resurrection of Jesus takes place within us. On Easter Sunday, I rise from the tomb of limitation. I follow Jesus to Galilee, the rich consciousness of vitality that becomes mine when I fully accept my Christ nature. I am resurrected into the life, light, and power of God. From Matthew 28, verse 10, then Jesus said to them, do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me. Today, I am resurrected into the life, light, and power of God. And God does bless us. Happy Easter.
Now we hear it. Let's get another song that I wrote. It's pretty easy. There is only one God, everywhere present. There is only one life, it lives in you and me. There is only one love that joins us all together. The power of the universe flows through you and me. God is love. God is good. God is here living through me. There is only one God, everywhere present. There is only one life, it lives in you and me. There is only one love that joins us all together. The power of the universe flows through you and me. God is love. God is good. God is here living through me. There is only one God, everywhere present. There is only one life, He lives in you and me. There is only one love that joins us all together. Power of the universe flows through you and me. God is love. God is good. God is here living through me. God is love. God is good. God is here living through me. There is only one God. Thank you. Don't forget, the songs are available on CD. There you go. So leading into the topic. Jesus rises within me when I use His eyes to see. Oh, yes, now heaven's here, eternal peace and no more fear. It's Easter morning every day, and in His love I'll always stay. Jesus rises deep within, showing me there is no sin. I'm forgiven, it is clear. Eternal peace and no more fear. It's Easter morning every day, and in His love I'll always stay. Jesus rises, one are we, and through His love my spirit's free. Now I am open to His will. I hear His voice when I am still. It's Easter morning every day, and in His love I'll always stay. Jesus rises.
And now our speaker, Friend Gregory.
Good morning, everyone. Help, Michael. I can never get these things out of here. Thank you. Well, I can use it. All right, that's good enough. I'm not going to take off. I'm just going to move a little bit, so this should be fine. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm going to start this out with something I found on the internet. When we decided what this speech was going to be about, I thought, okay, I'm going to see what Google has to say about it, just for the heck of it. And I found this really good article. It's called Writing with Hope by Sonia Estebello. And what she says in the very beginning is, Easter is the process of dying of the old self and being reborn in a spiritual sense. Beyond the religious dogma lies a deeper meaning that can be utilized for everyone inclined to live a more fulfilling life. Easter can be a powerful metaphor, one that helps us to re-examine our current state of being and then decide how we need to evolve. None of us need to evolve, right? We're okay where we are. Anyway, it can be a great day, similar to New Year's, to become motivated, to change, to do what needs to be done to put ourselves back on the spiritual path we want to be on. Anyway, at this point, Michael did some research in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, and he has a passage that he wanted to read. So I'm going to let him do that, and then I will be back up. Well, I didn't have a whole lot I want to lead into. This is your part.
Okay, why not?
I'm not going to let him talk too long.
I hope you're ready. Well, actually, I was going to start with a little story that I was reading an Alan Cohen book last night, and it's a story about a gentleman who's found himself alone on a deserted island in the middle of the ocean. He's been shipwrecked there, he's stranded, he thinks, I'm never going to get out of here, I'm going to die here for sure. Anyway, so one morning he's there and he's surviving, you know, he's built himself a little hut and he's got breakfast cooking and the dinner, you know, in his, somehow a little fire going, he's got breakfast cooking, and he looks out and he sees a ship going across the horizon. So needless to say, he runs out and he's waving his arms and yelling, find me, help, 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 and the ship disappears, and he thinks, well, that's the end of it. I guess I'm done, you know. I don't think they heard me. Well, needless to say, he left the fire burning in his hut when he went to go play with the ship, and now his hut's on fire. And he watches it burn to the ground, and he's just, oh man, I can't believe this. I guess I'm doomed to be here the rest of my life, and I'll just perish right here. And he goes to sleep, you know, goes getting late. Next thing you know, in the morning, someone's tapping on him. He wakes up and he goes, oh my God, and he sees the captain and a bunch of his shipmates are there looking at him going, are you okay? And he goes, wow, you know, how did you find me? And they said, well, we saw your smoke signal. So it's kind of like that. This resurrection thing isn't about necessarily dying. It's about renewing your life today where you are, not some faraway thing that you can't relate to. It's about letting go of so many things that we believe in our minds. I'm going to read a little bit from the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, compiled for Charles Fillmore, and it's used in all the studies here. If you're studying to be a licensed unity teacher or minister, this is one of the books that you read from. The raising of man's mind and body from sense to spiritual consciousness. This is accomplished by the quickening power of the Holy Spirit. If the spirit of him that raised up Jesus from the dead dwelleth in you, he that raised up Jesus Christ from the dead shall give life also to your mortal bodies through his spirit that dwelleth in you. So in other words, this spirit, this Holy Spirit, this God person, whatever you want to believe about that, is inside of you. It's not something out there. It's real. It's here. It's now. It's not something you need to. You know, Jesus wasn't trying to escape from anything. He knew that at some point, if you study just the history and the story of Jesus during the resurrection, and the crucifixion and the resurrection, I would say, he didn't try to stop it. At no point, I don't know if you guys saw, there was a show on what was the show? I can't remember what it was on, but anyway, it was like a movie or something, and they showed the trial, that they had for him to decide whether they were going to crucify him or they didn't know what to do with him, because the Roman emperor, or not the emperor, but whatever, the prefect or whatever of that particular area, who was like given this task of trying to get rid of Jesus, he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to be involved. It was the folks that were the Jews that were kind of against Jesus, that were trying to make him go away, because he was taking their power away. He kept healing people on Sunday, and that wasn't approved. That wasn't something you're supposed to do. So anyway, so they eventually figure out that they're going to do this, and Jesus never once tried to stop the process. He didn't sit there and, well, I'm innocent, and do all that kind of stuff, because the man kept asking him, are you the Son of God? Are you the King of the Jews? And he would not answer. He refused to answer. And so he just let it happen. And he let it happen because he knew he had to make this transition. He had to make this journey in a spiritual way. I don't know if he consciously knew it, but he knew it. Anyway.
Okay.
Oops.
We're new at the tag team thing, so if we're a little rocky in it, understand that we're just getting to it. But Michael and I had talked a great deal about this before we did the talk, and he had so much that he wanted to say, and of course I had things. We both have a lot to say, in case you haven't noticed already. So we decided that he had good points, I had good points, and it was all coming from Spirit anyway. So we'd split it up a little bit. Anyway, our biggest thing, though, both of us wanted to stay with the theme that the resurrection is now. It's not in the past. It's not coming up. It's right now. It's today. Today is the day that we can change it. Anything that comes with a change, for instance, you have a good relationship and something interferes with it, and it's no longer good.
when you decide to leave that relationship, it's not the death of a relationship. It's the birth of a new experience for both parties that were involved. Hopefully you part friends, but it's a new experience for both of you. It's a rebirth. So much of what we do on a daily basis can be termed a rebirth. It's where we get to start over. It's where maybe you're having one of those days like I've had a couple of recently, though nobody in my family would admit it, of course. But those days where you're kind of wondering what you're doing and you're off the path. You feel like God's here and you're here. And we all know that can't happen because God's inside. But when you hit that point where you say, wait a minute, I need to come back to center. I need to get back on the spiritual path. And I need to go forward on that path and stop with the he did this and she did that and they won't do this and they won't do that. All of that is non-constructive. It's a waste of our time and our energy. And we have a limited time here in this, as they call it, skin experience to make our move to the Christ consciousness. We don't get 300 years to do it here. A lot of people, and me being one of them, believe we get more chances than one. Thank God, because I couldn't do it in one. But Jesus did it in one. He did it in one. He started out on a path and he continued on that path. And that isn't to say that he probably didn't wander off here and there, but for the most part, he stayed in the Christ consciousness. And that Christ consciousness is where? Anybody? That's right. Inside. It's our higher self. It's that still small voice that tells us you're off the path. It's the one that gives us inspiration. It's the one that leads us in the right direction instead of the wandering path that we can sometimes take. The whole purpose of being here is to make that ascension, to become Christ. We all are Christ. We just have lost track of our Christ self. Of course, in miracles, of course, this is all a dream. For me, that's not, I can't get that. I'm just a little too literal-minded, but basically, we have separated ourselves from the presence. We've stepped away. Presence didn't go anywhere. We're now blocking everything on a spiritual level. When we do that, we separate ourselves from Christ. If God isn't in your life, who moved? Exactly. So, with us, God didn't really move, we're just ignoring. We're ignoring that higher self, that nudge that tells us go this direction. We go that direction instead because it's what we think we want to do at the time. And I don't know about you, but every time I ignore spirit, I get in deep trouble. So I'm trying real hard to go back the other way and pay attention. And one of the things that I read on the internet, I read a number of really interesting things there, but the one that I read that really impressed me was they talk about the cross and what the cross really signifies, and that the bar cross is the race consciousness. It's where we are normally, it's the way we think, it's that consciousness. And the shaft going down is spirit returning to the material plane. So that's us, and it can go up also. But what they've discovered along with that is that where it's written in the Bible, when Jesus is on the cross and he says, "Oh God, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?" That's totally mistranslated. That is not what it's supposed to say. I'm looking now for the paper that I've got where it tells me what it's going to say. Though I do know. It says, as Jesus is on the cross and everyone thinks he says, "Oh God, why hast thou forsaken me. What he really said is, this is the purpose I've come for. So Jesus is on the cross, and he recognizes, he knew all along, this was his reason. It was to show the world that what he did, we could do. That's, of course, what the resurrection is about. It's saying, you can do this too. I'm not the only one. Jesus, the Christ, was not an exception. He was a way shower, but he was showing us that we can all do it. It's not just Jesus. Do we have to make changes? Absolutely. There's a whole lot of rebirth that needs to be happening for all of us. And, labor pains aren't always easy, but we know that they always bear what they need to bear. So getting rid of the old and doing the rebirth takes some preparation. You have to be willing to let go of the old. Be willing to bury the past. Don't stay there with the, oh, well, I've always done it this way, or he did that to me 2 years ago and that's why I'm the way I am today. I'm sure we've all heard it, and we probably all indulged in it on occasion. Well, if it hadn't been for that, I would have done this. We need to bury it. And they actually have a very practical suggestion, and one I'd invite you to do when you get home today. They say take a box and think about, first meditate on what you most want to get rid of. What is it, a trait or your story? We all have a story, and whether it's given to us by the people around us or whether we develop it ourselves, we've got one. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not thin enough. We've all got one of those negative stories floating around somewhere. Family says, oh, she's the angry one. She's always been that way. Take that. If you can think of one of those, take it and write it out. And think about it just briefly. Don't dwell on it, but visualize it going away. And then put it in a little box and bury it in the yard. Just bury it. And if you don't have a yard, you want to dig in and the apartment would be upset about it, then bury it in the trash. But get rid of it. And when you get rid of it, keep reminding yourself that you have gotten rid of it, that you can go on. That's no longer your story. It's no longer your issue. We all have a lot of things we'd like to get rid of, I'm sure. At least I know I do. And I think my family could probably contribute to a few more they'd like me to get rid of. But we need to make that clean break from whatever the past was for us so that we can start all over again, so that we can have part of the resurrection, so that we can develop from that point and become more Christ-like, go where we need to go. And I think Michael has something he'd like to say here, so I'm going to let him take over for a minute while I get my notes back in order.
Okay. There's another passage here that I'd like to read. I like the way it's worded. The resurrection is the lifting up of the whole man into the Christ consciousness. The whole man is spirit, soul, and body. The resurrection lifts up all the faculties of mind until they conform to the absolute ideas of divine mind. And this renewal of the mind makes a complete transformation of the body so that every function works in divine order and every cell becomes incorruptible and immortal. The resurrection is an organic change that takes place daily in all who are confronting their lives to the regenerating truth of Jesus Christ. The resurrection takes place here and now in all who conform their lives to the spiritual law under which it works. I kind of like that. I was reading Neil Donald Walsh, and he says that, the same thing, that we're not just spirit. That's not true. We're spirit, mind, and body. We're one. It's all one thing. We're not all separate pieces and parts. We're not, let's disassemble this. We'll take the spirit out and we'll put the body over there. It doesn't work that way. Not while we're on the planet, anyway. We are one. We're one with Christ. We're one with
within ourselves. We're all one piece. It's all part of the same thing. It's not, let's divide this up, we're all spirit. Well, yeah, but we're all also body and mind. And we need to make that connection. And as we raise that, our consciousness through our body and mind and spirit, we become this, what do they talk about here? An organic change that takes place daily in conforming our lives to the regenerating truth of Jesus Christ. We become the Christ. We become more, happier, connected, more alive, more willing to listen, to understand, to be open to new ideas. And I think that's probably the key right there. Are you open to new ideas? I know I have to ask myself that. I don't know about you, but I got to ask me, am I open to a new idea? Am I willing to listen to what somebody else has to say, even if I don't like it? Is there something that they might, that's a reincarnation too. It's not just, or not reincarnation, a resurrection. It's letting go of those ideas and things that she mentioned, the box thing, Put it in a box and let it go. Can you do that? It's not easy. Anyway, back to you.
I was just going to ask too, how many of you, when I talked about that to begin with, how many of you had something instantly come to mind that you wanted to get rid of? Great. I had a few, so my box is going to be pretty big. But I think we all have that, and it's something to really spend some time every day thinking about those things that you want to change, those places that you want to become more Christ-like. There's a thing that in one of the articles that I was reading where they talk about the stone that was in front of Jesus' burial place. And they rolled the stone away. And symbolically, that's rolling away all thoughts of limitation. That's rolling away sorrow. That's rolling away pain. Roll away the unkindness. Roll away all those things in your lives. Just take that stone and roll it away and let the Christ emerge. Because that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to let Christ emerge within us. And the first thing, of course, we have to remember is that Christ is right here, right now. We are the Christ. Some of us in our infancy, but we are getting there. All of us will get there, if not this lifetime, in another. But we will, at least that's what we want to do. We're aiming for that. And even if it's baby steps, steps are steps. Now I have a question for you, and I want to know if anybody has any thoughts on this. And don't feel any pressure, because there isn't any. But why are we here? Why are we here in this body on this plane? Anybody got a thought about that?
Evolve spiritually.
Absolutely. To evolve spiritually. That's the whole purpose of this experience. There is no other purpose. There isn't the diamond ring you get. It isn't about the riches. It is about health, because if you're healthy in body, then you're healthy in mind. And that's what Christ is about. It's about health all the way through. It's about being reborn every single day until we are where we need to be. And if any of you get there, please let me know, because I want to meet you. But we're all headed that direction. And it's nice to know that there's a room full of people right here that are headed exactly where I'm headed. So I know that this is where you understand what I'm saying, where I can reach out, and I've talked to a lot of you and find that there's an instant connection. We're thinking the same way. This is a room full of people willing to be reborn, willing to let the resurrection happen within their hearts every single day. And the reason we're here is for just exactly that. And I'd like to do just a real short meditation, just to help us all get centered a little bit and let what I've said and what Michael said and what's come through us sink in a little bit. Michael, would you come hold this so that somebody can hear it, so I'm not waving it around.
I'll put it back on the stand, that'll solve the problem.
Thank you. That'll work. And then I'll stand way back here and on my tiptoes and everybody will hear me. Thank you. Just kidding. That's good enough.
Oh, is that loose or is it tighter?
Sorry about that. I should have left well enough alone, huh? Okay, so if you want to close your eyes, feel free to do that. Try to put your feet flat on the floor and get comfortable. Uncross your legs. And now just relax. Take in a couple of cleansing breaths. Just a deep breath in and let it out. And another breath in and let it out. And as you relax, take yourself into the Christ center. Move all of your thoughts and all of your feelings into that Christ consciousness and rest there. And while you're there, see the light that's generated by that Christ consciousness. The light that spreads throughout your body. Feel the warmth of it. Feel it flowing through all your limbs, healing any aches or pains you might have. Helping you with a rebirth, with a resurrection. Feel that Christ flowing all the way through you. And now let it go from you to the person next to you. And to the person behind you. And to everybody in the room. And let's feel that light filling this room. And now, send it outside. See it just as you see the sun breaking through the clouds and enveloping the world. And let it rest there, shining, bringing forth healing and love and peace to all. And feel your rebirth in that light with the Christ consciousness. And as you come back here into this room, bring that light with you. Don't let it fade. And stay connected to all those around you. Recognize the Christ in all of us. The Christ that we're recognizing, that we're working towards on a daily basis. And then just relax right where you are and allow yourself to keep that Christ consciousness for as long as you can. And as we come back into the room, just relax into your seat and hold the Christ consciousness with you as we continue. Okay, so actually I think I'm about at the end unless I go on, and I don't think I want to do that, and I don't think you want to hear it. So I'm going to kind of let it go at this point. There were a couple of things that I wanted to share with you. If I can find it. There it is. I'm sorry. Let every step you take be toward your health, your wholeness, towards abundance, towards your alignment with the Spirit, towards your higher self, toward the extraordinary you. Let your light shine.
That was interesting. Again, feel free to sing along if you like, or not, whatever you want to do.
I'm trusting in you, Lord. I'm trusting in you, Lord. I'm trusting in you, Lord. I am learning to love, and I am guided from above. I'm trusting in you, Lord. I'm trusting in you, Lord. I'm trusting in you, Lord. God is deep inside of me, and God is in everything I see. I'm trusting in you, Lord. I'm trusting in you, Lord. I'm trusting in you, Lord. God is a source. God is a source of all good. God is a source. God is a source of all good. I'm trusting in you, Lord. I'm trusting in you, Lord. I'm trusting in you, Lord. God is a source. God is a source of all good. God is a source. God is a source of all good. God is a source. God is a source of all good. God is a source. God is the source of all good. God is a source. God is the source of all good. God is the source. God is the source of all good.
Do you want to do that before the offertory?
Okay, let's decide as a group, before or after? We thought before. Yes, no, maybe, yep.
Make it happen.
We're going to do our special flower event, and did you want to say a few words to get us started, Cindy?
We have candles up front, we have flowers over here.
Well, we've got candles here and here. So maybe think of someone special that may be here, may not be here. We wish were here. Light a candle. We'll get those started. Where's the lighter go? Get over there. It looks like this one is here. Start with the front row. Just come on up.
For those who haven't been with us before on Easter Sunday, we're adding flowers to the cross to make it a living cross, the ever-renewing spirit.
If you want to light a candle, you use one of these, right?
Yes.
So if you want to light a candle, you use one of these sticks, and then you just put it on the candle.
It looks like there's some flowers left over in the bucket, so if you're inspired later, you might want to add more flowers to the cross. But we're going to have an offertory now, so take your offertory in your hand and we'll sing this song together. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. So we're going to bless this offering as a congregation, and the blessings on the screen. Please join us.
I give willingly, joyfully, and lovingly, knowing that God is the constant source of my supply. I give with graciousness and receive with gratitude.
Thank you, Father, Mother God. So, anybody have some good news that they want to share? Nora?
Yes. Next week, I am hopefully going to have one of my grandchildren spend the night with me. And so there is a slight possibility that I might get to bring him to church with me. If he so is inclined to, show himself off.
Time with family is important. Okay, anybody else? Yes, Joe?
When I first heard the news of the fire at Notre Dame Cathedral, I was led to believe that was a total loss. I'm very grateful to learn that the upper wooden structure is gone, but the bell towers and a lot of the base is there. It's going to be all beautiful.
Yes, there was a lot of religious relics in the cathedral. Those were saved from the fire. And did you hear the news about the bees? They had beehives on the roof, and the beekeeper was scared that maybe they had perished in the fire. Actually, bees like smoke. It just kind of puts them to sleep. And they were fine. The bees are fine. Yes. So some blessings will come out of that, I'm sure. Anything else?
Actually, they already said that the blessings had come out of that, in that so much was needing to be done, and the money that has come in to redo it has been phenomenal to do all of what needed to happen anyhow. So
Yes.
they've already said that they could see the blessing in it.
Wonderful. You wanted to say something, Cindy?
The Easter Bunny has brought a very special delivery. Inside this basket is an affirmation and an egg. Please take one and pass it down. See what your affirmation is. An affirmation? An affirmation.
Wonderful.
Linda, do you want to say something? You want to say something?
Oh, yeah, school's almost over.
School's almost over.
We're always happy when school's almost over. Like right after spring break, it's a downhill slide till come on June. Yes.
Yeah.
I've got one too.
Yes?
Yeah, she's getting good grades.
Yay! Good grades.
She's getting good grades. That's my goodness.
Okay, well, the basket continues to go around, and in a moment here, let's stand up and sing our peace song, and then we'll have a prayer of protection, and then we'll have our fellowship time following. Wonderful.
Almost there. I'll say the link.
Oh, okay.
We'll let Cindy get situated.
So who's the governor?
There be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God